host, and I'm here every Monday at 8 p.m. Today in the studio we have two amazing, lovely ladies that are going to tell us about their new organization that's on the rise. But before I introduce you to the both of them, I'd like to say a big thank you to Omega House multimedia company, which is our powerhouse, which operates Omega Live TV. Please follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page for updates of all our shows, and hit that like button now on Facebook, and share, because today's ladies are amazing, and what they're doing is just going to be so big in Africa. So yes, as I said, we have the founders in the studio of Open Gates.
Hi.
Open Gates Africa.
Yes.
And your name is?
Henrietta K.
And
I'm Asibi Charles.
Nice to meet you, ladies. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So, first of all, tell us about Open Gates Africa and what it is.
So Open Gates Africa is a platform that provides a conference for business leaders and prime ministers, presidents, to come and share their best practice and knowledge on various industries. What we want to do is create that, synergy across the continent, which will share these best practices, and we can implement it in our neighboring countries, just to create growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Asibi?
Yeah, so like Henrietta said, we OpenGate is creating a platform for stakeholders, policymakers, local people to share best practices. Africa, there's so many businesses thriving, and we're looking to see how that can be shared, because whereas some countries are doing well in some sectors, other countries aren't doing very well. So we're looking to see if people can come together and share these practices.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think the fundamental key word would be merging.
Imagine,
yeah. So we can kind of like create our own united Africa.
Yes.
Where the youth can find employment. And not really look outside the continent. We want to create that synergy to allow them to feel like they are wanted and their skills are needed on the continent, because right now there's no jobs. So what best way to do it is through business. So how do we implement these best practices into our neighboring countries, where businesses and companies can be, birthed in creating these new jobs for the youth.
Open Gates Africa do recognize that there are some difficulties when it comes to doing business in Africa.
Yes.
Especially cross-border businesses, the difficulties with language, visa, and Open Gates is committed to working in partnership with the African Union to kind of bring down those barriers so that businesses can start moving across the continent.
Okay, so why did you ladies choose Africa? Because you're both from Ghana, and Africa is quite a large, continent to cover. So why Africa? Why not just Ghana alone?
Just coming from, being from Ghana doesn't mean that I'm just Ghanaian, I'm African.
That's true.
And so why should only Ghana benefit from what we're doing, or from what other countries are, from what just Ghana is doing?
Yes.
We want to kind of implement every good thing that's happening in Ghana. We want to kind of share it. We want to create that sharing platform where it can be implemented anywhere across the 54 countries. We want to start small and then move across.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So that's the vision. The vision is starting small and moving it across, but it's always good to share.
Yes.
And if you're from Ghana, you're from Nigeria, you're from Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Kenya, you're still African.
That's true.
And so what better way of being a contributing factor is basically creating something that, looking at what is, the gap, and try to fill it.
And also, when it comes to Africa, different countries are doing well in different sectors.
Yes.
Open Gates Africa is looking at different sectors.
Okay.
Whereas some countries are doing very well in agriculture, other countries are doing very well in technology.
Yes.
And so we need to bring all these people together, look at what they're doing very well in, and then share with their neighbors how to improve it in their individual countries.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the reason why we're looking at the whole of Africa.
Okay, so you ladies are about to launch, and you're launching as you're doing a conference. So, okay, so you're launching your conference towards the autumn of this year. So tell us a bit more about what's gonna, what the elements of the conference. Sorry.
All right. So we will be launching Open Gates Africa in November, 2nd of November at Ambassadors Bloomsbury in London and Russell Square. The launch is to give people an opportunity to understand what Open Gates is about, what they can expect from us, our pathway towards our first conference, which is going to be in Ghana. And we've got some amazing speakers coming to encourage people to participate in our conference, because we're going to meet other really good business people. Okay,
so what have you been doing?
We also wanted, well, the launch will also encourage the diaspora to have a say, just so we can have like questions that needs addressing. So we would be able to kind of like pick out certain questions from them and know what we're kind of heading towards. Because I'm from the diaspora myself, I live here. When going to do business in Africa or in Ghana is sometimes quite difficult.
Indeed.
Exactly. Finding resources or even getting doors to open for you is quite difficult. So we want to create that bridge where it's easy for you to access what you want to do in terms of your business. And that's the reason why we're launching, and that's why we're asking people to kind of like sign up, register on our website.
Yeah, so starting an organization like this is really a challenge, because like I said, you're not covering Ghana, you're covering the whole of Africa. So you must have a lot of, how can I say, you must have been doing a lot of networking prior, up to this, and also your professional background. So could you let us know a bit about your professional backgrounds individually, and how this has given you the skills?
Well, I started off in tourism. So I worked for Thompson's when I was 18. So I really liked the whole travel aspect of that industry, and then I moved into recruitment, where I worked for Bank of America Merrill Lynch for a very long time doing their internal recruiting. So that was more HR. We just basically gain experience from there and how they do business in terms of trading. So you get to learn little bits of everything. And then I moved to Ghana.
So you lived in Ghana for a while?
I did. I moved to Ghana for 3 years, and I worked in property development company. And that's where the idea came to me that, look, Africans are not really talking to each other. How do we get them to talk to each other? How do we get the growth of businesses to share their best practices and kind of utilize what we already have on ground, rather than all the conferences kind of targeting the Western world to come in and invest. Why don't we use what we already have? There are investors that are on the continent that can equally invest in businesses or in projects. Why don't we kind of look around us and utilize what
neighboring countries?
Yes, exactly. So that's where it all came from. Then I moved back to London. And then I worked as a project officer for the NHS England. So there I did like research work.
Straight into a different
totally
area.
different. Totally different. But being there, it just didn't feel right. I just wanted to do more. Like I just felt like I've left something behind. I just wanted to kind of like go back to my roots. So I decided that I don't want to do this anymore. We're gonna now set up, Open Gates Africa and move it forward.
Okay.
So through that, I went back to uni to do my master's.
What did you do?
In international management and finance.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
do you feel like that's helped you?
That's helped me a lot, because I learn about global markets, I learn about industries, and just basically how the Western world do business. I feel like sometimes if you want to kind of implement certain things, you need to learn how yeah,
definitely.
So instead of having a to-do list, you should have like a to-learn list. So it's about branding Africa again. Yeah, we need to create our own brand. We've kind of like followed the Western world for so long. Definitely. We need to rebrand ourselves and rebrand Africa. Right now we have the millennials have created this beautiful thing called social media. Yes. Social media is amazing that it goes everywhere. Everyone can kind of tap into social media at the moment. So why don't we tell our own stories in our way? Yeah. Why do we allow the Western world to tell our stories for us? And that goes in everything that we do as Africans. And I'm a proud African.
So Sibi, what's your professional background?
So I started my career in Ghana. I was part of the team that did a World Bank project to implement the e-Ghana project.
Oh wow, you worked on that?
Yeah, I worked on that previously. When you have to pay your taxes, customs, you have to go to the office, and our organization actually did a feasibility report and invited bids and actually got contractors to implement the e-Ghana. Now when you register a business in Ghana, you get your TIN.
Okay, yes.
So I was part of the team that implemented that. I've got training in public-private partnership, which means I've got a good understanding on merging different companies, especially the private sector and the public sector. It's about ensuring that the private sector brings in the best practices. Yes. Usually the public sector will have the personnel or the staff to do the job. So with that background, currently I moved to England 10 years ago. I'm working with local government as a senior practitioner. But at the beginning of this year, Rita invited me. She said, well, I've looked at your background and I think you'll be great in joining me to run Open Gates Africa. So although she's been brewing this plan
how long have you had this concept? 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
So was you just waiting, looking for the right person to...
No, I was putting things together. I didn't want to rush it because I wanted to do it right. I wanted it to be effective. I didn't want it to be rushed. So I was doing my research in the background, hence why I went back to school.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I just wanted to kind of get it right the first time. I didn't want to just rush it.
So what other services will Open Gates Africa provide? Because obviously you're doing the event, which is in form of a conference to launch and create the awareness about the organisation. But I'm sure it's not just about what you've spoken about. Obviously, you're going to diversify and provide other services. I remember as Sibi was telling me about consultancy. So how's that going to work?
Well, at this precise moment, I facilitate projects. So I've had the opportunity to jump on a few projects to facilitate in Ghana and other countries as well on the continent. So that's something that we do alongside. So we do facilitating where if a private company or a government company or a government project comes about, and they need investors, or we can kind of facilitate that and get them the right investor to do the project. Alongside that, the service that we also provide is the consultancy side of our business, which is the sister company to Open Gates Africa. So Open Gates Africa is the conference, but then alongside that we have the Open Gates consultancy. The consultancy collects data from the conference And what we do is we do due diligence on all members.
Okay.
Just to see if they're worthy and they're credible.
Okay.
So then we can kind of partner them with local partners or investors that
That's
are
what I was just
looking
about
for
to
the
ask you
correct.
next.
Yeah.
So if an investor comes to us and says, well, I want to invest in this sector, who do you have on ground doing very well? Then we can partner them together.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to ask, you know, how people are going to trust you, because you know, you're just a starting company. Yeah. But you seem to have your game on. Like, you girls are coming full vim, as we say in Ghana.
We really have to.
If you've just joined us, we're in the studio today with two lovely ladies who are the founders of Open Gates Africa. They've been talking about their launch, which is going to take place in autumn. You know, their professional backgrounds and how they came together to start this initiative. Their names are Henrietta Kay and Asibi Charles. So yes, ladies. For example, if I came to you and said, okay, I have this amount of money and I want to get into farming as a female entrepreneur, but I know nothing about farming, agriculture in Africa as a whole, but I have this amount of money. You know, how would you, what steps, how would you show me, you know, to embark on this journey? Like, I don't know anything. I literally don't, as I'm saying. But, you know.
Well, by the time that you approach us as a company, we would have a list of farmers in agriculture, or the agriculture sector businesses that are already doing what you want to invest in. So what we will do is ask you what your requirements are and what you want to really do. As much as you don't know what you want to invest in, you probably would have a slight idea of what you're looking to do, or which part of what sort of agriculture you want to, whether it's cocoa farming, whether it's peanuts. So it depends
cashew
on
nuts,
cashew nuts,
Gary. And tomatoes,
exactly.
That's a big one. I was reading about it, and they said that tomato paste is from Nigeria, I think, in the whole world. They're like the largest selling tomato paste, and I was like, wow, this is interesting.
Exactly. The thing is, we have everything in Africa. We just need to tap into it and do it right, brand ourselves and do it very right.
And like you said, work with each other and not outside.
And we don't need just one country doing very well and the others not doing so well. So the plan is to ensure that a lot more countries do well.
So in terms of your question, we'll just partner you with a local partner that is,
best match.
Credible.
Yes.
Best match to you. So I'm sure we'll probably link you to maybe 3, so you can kind of have a discussion with them and see who is best for you and meets your requirements. And we can kind of like sign the deal and charge you.
Wow. You make it sound so easy. I know it's not that easy.
No.
But so apart from Ghana and South Africa, which seem to be the most, the 2 countries that, us as Ghanaians seem to, be interested in most of the time, what other countries are worth investing in Africa? It could be agriculture, technology. Which other countries?
Well,
I'm trying to find out about your knowledge, ladies.
You didn't say apart from Ghana.
Apart from Ghana, apart from South Africa.
Ghana always Ghana. I'm joking.
But apart from Ghana and South Africa, what other countries would you like? If investors came to you, foreign investors came to you and said, okay, like I said before, we have this amount of money, or we want to go into a certain area, whether it be property development, tech, agriculture,
whatever industry.
Well,
I would say Egypt.
Egypt
is a really fast growing economy. Their population is really big. The growth there is immense. At the same time, they're very tech savvy. They're young, they're youth. They're under 30s, very, very clued on when it comes to the tech industry.
Technology. Oh, wow.
At the same time, with Egypt, their biggest industry is manufacturing.
Oh.
So that would be a really good place to also invest. A lot of, well, right
when
now,
you say manufacturing, what do you mean?
Like processing, drinks, juice, chocolates, biscuits, Egyptian cotton, t-shirts, manufacturing in all industry, like every industry. They have loads of factories over there. I've actually visited Cairo, and it's amazing. I would encourage everybody to go. It's really, 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 really beautiful.
Yeah.
But you can see the growth in their economy. You can see that things are moving, and it's very fast paced.
Okay.
So I will say, number one, go to Egypt if that's where you want to invest in Africa.
Okay.
Number two, I would say in terms of agriculture, go to Tanzania.
Okay.
Tanzania is doing very well in their agriculture.
Okay.
They have vast land and it's very fertile. So it's very good to invest. If you're looking to invest in agriculture, look into Tanzania. I would also say Rwanda. Rwanda is doing amazing.
Okay.
Even after the war, they've really come up, on the map.
Okay.
In terms of growth and in terms of, sanitation, cleanliness, in terms of where the direction of their president is taking them.
Okay.
I am so in love with that man.
I think
he's amazing.
Okay.
And he's really taking Rwanda to a different level. So I would also say, in terms of investment, Rwanda is another place to look at.
Okay.
But yeah, look at Ghana.
So what are your views on Congo Republic, Asibi?
Well, I think with Congo, people would usually tell you it's the what's the name of the movie that came out recently?
I know the one on Netflix.
No, it was
No?
a big Marvel movie.
Really?
About
Wakanda.
No,
Wakanda.
Congo is actually the Wakanda of
yes,
Africa.
because it's right in the middle. Bang.
When it comes to rich minerals.
Definitely, you're right.
They've got different varieties. So yeah, I think it's a place that people interested in minerals mining should look into. Also, when it comes to technology, there was a research recently by an American company to say Uganda and Mozambique are doing really well when it comes to technology. I know sometimes you don't hear much about them, but they seem to be doing really well.
Okay.
And of course, Nigeria, with their large population,
I'm trying to. I want us to
well.
talk about the other countries that never get
so
to say, like Kenya,
And Madagascar. I mean, usually all we think about is vanilla pods, but they're doing very well.
With spices, they're very good with spices.
And what about Kenya? Because I heard Kenya's, an underdog. Coming up.
It is underdog, but they're actually I think they're about number 7.
Okay.
Where in terms of growth. So there are investors that are looking into Kenya. So that's another place. The thing is, Africa is so big, and we kind of like forget about certain countries. It's it looks like maybe it's because I'm from the western part of Africa, so I always kind of look at the West Africa. But looking.
That's what I was just about to say. This is Open Gates Africa, so no matter what, you cannot leave any country out.
So like, it's really opened my eyes to other countries and what they're doing, and it's the knowledge is just immense.
I can imagine.
I feel like I'm learning every day, new things about Africa every day, and it's just really, really good.
One thing about Kenya, there are loads of startups.
Yes, entrepreneurship is very big.
Absolutely.
Very, very big.
If you're looking to invest in small scale businesses, Kenya is one of the best places to look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you guys trying to do in terms of networking with these other countries? Because, I mean, how are you?
How are we gonna kind of like connect?
I mean, how have you been doing so far in terms of like, with the high commissions in the UK? Have you been trying to reach out to them to let them know about Open Gates Africa and?
So the trade sector. We're talking to the trade sector. So the high commissions and the embassies and the consulates to gather information about businesses in the different countries doing very well and collecting data.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been going up and down trying to, we're having meetings with all the ambassadors here in the UK, trying to get involved with the Chambers of Commerce just to tap into what they have on their list. And we're also inviting them to our launch so they know what we're doing and how basically they can kind of help, make Open Gate a success.
Okay. So we did discuss before we came on the show about your CSR, and you really want to focus on helping the youth and women. I mean, how are you going to do this?
Well, with the youth, what we're doing with them is that we're trying to encourage them to stay focused.
Okay.
Stay focused, and also what we're trying to do is by connecting these businesses together, it will create employment for them.
Okay.
We're also trying to tap into their skills.
Yeah.
So across the continent, we're trying to get the youth to sign up to Open Gates and register with us, just so they can kind of like bring their expertise on board, because we can't do it by ourselves. Us two can't do it by ourselves, but one person have to start. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're encouraging them to join forces with us, just to partner with us, or even just be volunteers towards what we're doing, because through that would help their generation and more to come.
Okay, if you've just tuned in, we are live with the founders of Open Gates Africa, Henrietta Kay and Asibi Charles, and they've been telling us about their organization, which is launching in autumn, and their plans and how they've been working together with ministers and leaders, and also people from different high commissions from various African countries to bring the awareness of what they're about to do, which is very powerful. So please share. We have not finished. We're literally like halfway through, and they've been telling us so much, about their professional backgrounds and how, their professions and skills have brought these two ladies, these powerhouses together to make this amazing organization come to pass. So joint ventures, let's talk about the partnership itself, because it's not easy to go into partnership. There's so many things you have to cover when it comes to joint ventures, and this is a joint venture, isn't it?
Yes.
Just to verify. So you're both the directors.
We're both directors, yes.
You're both equally founders.
Yes.
Okay,
well,
so
Henrietta is the founder because she came up with the idea.
And you're the co-founder.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
And we are the directors, both directors of Open Gates Africa.
Okay. So how important is it to have the same, strategy, objectives? How did you come together? Because you could go to Asibi and say, this is what I want to do, but she might be like, nah, this is not gonna. I mean, did you have a lot of that before you got to your final decision of how this joint venture is gonna work?
So the thing is, the way I work is I observe.
So you're targeted, like you said before.
I don't just bring people in. I observe a lot, and I'm the type of person that I would say I'm quite firm in what I do. As much as sometimes I can come across quite jovial.
Okay.
But I'm quite firm in terms of what I do, and the reason why I chose Asibi is because she's very calm.
Yeah, she is.
And she basically checks me.
Which is very important.
It's very, very
that you're
important.
different in
so we're
partnerships
so
as
different.
well.
I am the one that would be like, okay, we need to do this one. She would be like, okay, let's calm down. It's a good idea.
Yes.
Let's plan it.
Okay.
So then I'll be like, okay, so let's put these plans together. And in terms of joint ventures, it's always good to, put a planning session down and then also communicate and then build that trust.
Definitely.
So I feel like we've built enough trust amongst us, and that's why we've kind of like gone far with Open Gates Africa. And through that, I feel like we've become stronger, right?
So were you guys friends before?
We were friends, but I think since we got into business together,
I think we've become tighter.
Sisters.
Closer, yeah.
It's become a sisterhood.
It's become a sisterhood.
Which is really important,
yes.
because obviously you spend a lot of time talking, discussing.
Exactly.
So it's better to just become sisters, isn't it?
I must say, what I like about Rita, she is an ideal woman. She's
Perfect
always,
love story.
Yeah, she's always coming up with ideas,
Yes.
amazing ideas.
So what what are your strengths? What do you think your strengths are, and what are your strengths?
So I'm the implementer.
Yeah.
So Rita will come with the ideas, we'll think it through, and then we'll have actions.
Okay.
And I will ensure that we follow up on actions, and they are realistic actions.
Yeah. I feel like God gave me a gift of just plucking ideas from the air.
Yeah, I mean, we can't. Some of us
Sometimes
are like
even
that.
my brain gets tired. I'm just like, oh Joe, I'm so tired.
So you have the concepts and stuff, and then she's more of the implementer.
Exactly.
It makes sense. That's why I was communicating with you.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like,
Absolutely.
I was thinking, is Rita actually coming? Does Rita exist?
Yeah. So I would say I'm more of a business developer.
Okay.
And we do communicate a lot.
So we communicate a lot, I feel like we kind of like bounce off each other, which is really, really good. We help each other in certain ways, where she's like my motivator.
Okay.
Where then
you are my motivator. Yeah, you are.
And if she came in form of as a male, would you still have chosen her, or did you want to do this with another woman? Was it important that you did this with a woman?
Do you know what? I'm actually quite happy that it came about as a women's group. But at the same time, I would not rule out a man's work. So if she came in a form of a man, it would be just as good as it is now. So I don't discriminate at all, because it depends on the skills that the person is bringing.
Okay.
That's what I look out for.
So what challenges have you faced as two women trying to break through, doing what you're doing, when I personally think it's more male dominated, because men are more the ones to initiate such, organizations and do all this investment stuff, and I mean, what challenges have you faced? Because I'm sure sometimes people might not take you seriously, or think maybe you don't have enough knowledge about this project.
The challenges sometimes is a bit overwhelming. But I would say a lot of the times when you go into a meeting, the men do look at you like, what are you talking about? Or you're a woman. But until you kind of like put your stamp down and be like, okay, look,
this is what
I'm a woman, but this is what I'm doing. This is what's going to happen, and this is what we're going to do. Then that's when they take you serious. I have had rejections, which I don't take very well. But it doesn't stop me from pushing. I don't give up easily. I just keep pushing, and I'll keep knocking on your door until you say yes. So I'm quite annoying in my approach, but at the same time it gets me what I want, and it shows that determination that you just don't give up just because one door says no. When I first had this idea, I shared it with a few male businessmen that I know, and they were always like, it won't work. And I'm like, no, it will work. Just because you say it won't work, that's your opinion. We're going to make it work.
And consistency.
Because it's about time that we made things work for our favor. They say it won't work because they're afraid of change. That's the problem we have as Africans. We don't like change. But until we change, we'll keep getting the same results that we're getting. And so I refuse for my children's children to come and meet Africa the way it is, and hence why I took the stand in setting this up. And so I need all the backing that I can get. As a woman, as a man, just join.
And I think one of the other challenge we faced is being new
New
the
faces,
business.
yeah.
So everyone would say, have you done it before? But I always think to myself, well, you need to start from somewhere.
It's true.
You're
That's very true.
From somewhere. So people always say, well, how do you know it's going to work? You've never done it before. But we're thinking, well, we need to do it to know if it works or not, and we'll learn from whatever mistakes.
Yeah, because it is a big. I mean, like I said, it's a big challenge, and I respect you, ladies, so much. Because when I was reading your business profile, I was like, wow, this is.
But you know what? That's what motivates us. I mean, there are a few times people have said, you can't do it, and we're thinking, actually, we're going to prove you wrong.
The thing is, if the World Economic Forum can do it, why can't we do it as Africans?
That's true.
They do it, and they do it very well. And this is the whole world that they're tapping into.
Yes.
Why can't we create the same thing for Africa, where we acknowledge good practices, where we acknowledge entrepreneurs that are making changes, where we put them out there on a pedestal and say, well done, you've done well, you know? Why can't we do that? The World Economic Forum does it, and they're doing it massively in Davos, Switzerland. Why can't we create the same thing in Africa? And that is our 5-year view. That is our future. That's what we're creating as Open Gates Africa, and that's where we're going to go.
This is amazing. You lot are definitely gold diggers. I mean, it's people like you that I love having on the show because you're such an inspiration. So who has inspired the both of you? Like individually, who are your role models as you were growing up, you know, that have helped you, you know, become the women that you are today, either celebrities or, you know, just people that you know?
Okay, I would say Oprah. Oprah is mine.
I think she's everybody's.
Do you know what? I love her inspirational talks. I love what she stands for. I love the way that she embraces her blackness. Also, I'll say my mom. My mom is very forceful, and I think that's where I get my motivations from. She's a go-getter. Like my mom don't stop. And so I would say she is my role model. My idol is Oprah.
What about you, SCB?
For me, I mean, currently I look up to Bosman, Bozoma, and St. John.
Yes.
I think for me, any woman that is doing great in a male-dominated sector needs all the praise, and she is doing amazing. She's relentless, and I look up to her. Of course, my mom. Yeah, absolutely. But Bozoma, St. John, I think she's doing well, and I really look up to her.
Okay, so what are the 3 tips that you'd give to, you know, anyone that's watching that wants to embark on a partnership or a joint venture, you know, with a friend or somebody that they think can bring, you know, good business to their current business or starting business? What 3 tips, this is each, would you give? Essential tips that, you know, like this is what you really need to do before you embark on this.
I would say make sure that you're both on the same page, that your strategy for your business or your objectives, it's on the same page. Make sure that information is shared and everything is transparent. I would also say communication is simple. It's key. Make sure that everyone kind of like understand where they stand in terms of what agreements they're signing, and everybody is, because that's what create that smooth sailing of a business venture. Once everybody feels comfortable, it runs smoothly. It's not easy, but
yeah, that's true.
So I think Henrietta said the 3, but I can add 1 to it. I think you need to ensure that you create a foundation. I think you said communication, but it's very important that you create a good communication foundation. And one last thing, do have each other's back. If you decide that you're going to business together, then you need to learn to trust each other.
Yes, that's very important.
Every opinion matters. You
That's
don't
true.
shoot down each other's opinion. Just take it, try and work with it. If it works, yes. If it doesn't work, that's fine. But you should always
compromise.
listen. Yeah, compromise, negotiate. Very important.
Speak less, listen more.
Is that what you're learning? I'm even learning that myself. listen, not speak too much.
Yeah.
So in Africa now, the sports industry is growing.
Yeah.
As we know, we haven't spoken about that. We've just spoken about farming, the normal agriculture, and the boring stuff. But sports is quite exciting. So, you know, which sport in Africa would you?
Football.
Yeah. There's other sports though.
Yeah.
But football is the biggest in Africa.
It is the biggest, yeah.
But I do think that we have strong, thick men, you know, the muscle men. So they should go into rugby.
Because there's exactly. Rugby.
I think rugby is really underrated.
Definitely.
They need to really start, you know, investing in rugby.
Yeah. And it's an international sport
We're
as well.
strong men. We have strong men in Africa, so we need to start.
So apart from boxing, football, which are the main, you mentioned rugby, any other sport?
For me, I think we need to, because sports, it's about things that keep you active.
Yes.
So we're all looking at
and we have
the
athletics,
Western
obviously,
world. We're
as
looking
well.
at what the Western world term sports. But what about all the amazing stuff we've got in Africa? Ampe. Why don't we create a huge
like a league, like a league,
where people will come and play Ampe, do sporting things, like active things that.
What's Ampe in English?
God knows.
Like
Ampe is Ampe, isn't it?
Ampe. Why do we even need a different name for
it?
Maybe it's
Taekwondo is Taekwondo because that's the name.
No, but
so
maybe,
Ampe will be Ampe.
No, but maybe Ampe is
and judo is
different. It's different in
it shouldn't be. No,
maybe East Africans call it differently. Like I said, language barriers. We all have.
But Ampe is from Ghana, so
they might come with another one. Yeah.
So
they might come with another.
They might have something
my
else.
point is, why don't we look at all the active things we do and develop those ones into sport, like world-class sports? Yeah. So for me, that's what we look into.
Yeah. Okay, ladies. So you've given me your 3 tips that you would, you've given to our audiences that would like to go into business and, joint ventures and stuff like that. So anything else that you'd like to tell us before we close in terms of Open Gates Africa? Going back onto that.
So in terms of Open Gates Africa, what we will say is go on our website and register to be there. Don't miss out. Join us, for our launch.
So your website's up and running.
It's up and running,
and people can go and register.
Yeah, and it's www.opengatesafrica.com.
Okay.
They can email us at info@opengatesafrica.com.
And these are people to sponsor, to support.
Yes. Yeah. So
stakeholders.
if you're looking to sponsor, it's sign up on our website. Contact us on our website, info@opengates.com. And
social media.
Follow us at Open Gates Africa on Instagram, Open Gates Africa on Twitter, and Open Gates Africa on Facebook.
And we also have a networking group going on LinkedIn. So it's called Open Gates Africa Network on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn,
yeah,
because LinkedIn is probably a really good platform for you guys professionally.
And in the next couple of weeks, we'll have our event up on Eventbrite, so people can go on there and register to come to our launch.
And closer to the launch, you will be back at Omega Live on our Africa show, which is on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
To speak with Steve, to speak more in depth.
Yes.
So the future, how do you see in the growth in terms of Open Gates Africa? Like, you've already spoken about 5 years, but longevity wise.
So for the future, we're looking at so once we've launched Open Gates Africa in November, we're looking at next year to do the first conference, which will be hosted in Ghana, because that's where we're from. So we're doing Ghana first. And it's #TogetherWeBuild. So together we can make changes, together we can grow our economy, together we can make a difference.
And this is going to be next year in Ghana.
So that's next year in Ghana.
Okay.
We're planning it at the moment.
Okay.
So watch out for that.
And who's supporting you in Ghana?
So we have a company. We've partnered with a company called Access Africa.
Okay.
So they're our local partner in Ghana at the moment. And we're in talks with a few banks as well in Ghana and in Africa, so they can all be part of it, because we want the growth. It doesn't stop there. Every 6 months we will host a conference in a different country.
Okay.
And we will select different sectors in the industry to basically focus
every
on.
month?
Every 6 months.
6 months,
two
sorry.
Conferences a
2
year.
Okay, that's realistic.
So 2 conferences a year, and we will just keep going around the continent, creating this, platform for best sharing.
So what country
are we looking at?
What countries are you looking at?
So we're looking at Ghana for the
first
one, which is the generic, talking about all the industries on the continent, what we're doing. Then the second one would be probably hosted. We're looking at the 2 countries, which is Egypt and Rwanda.
Okay.
So we're looking at Egypt for manufacturing and processing industry. Okay. And Rwanda for the sanitation.
Okay.
So we want to know what they're doing and how are they doing it, and how can we implement the sanitation projects that they've been doing and being successful on in different countries, because our main issue in Africa is, sanitation. That's our problem. Okay. Every country is suffering from that. So how do we clean up? And so that's why we're looking at those 2 sectors.
Okay, so in terms of African leaders, I mean, how has it been, trying to pitch this to some of the leaders, because obviously how men are in Africa, and we've spoken about this, because you're women, and obviously you've had your challenges, but in terms of leaders, like, how has that been? So, and how do you plan to, you said you don't care, you're knocking on that door, to be forceful, but strategically, how are you going to get them involved?
Yeah, so far they've been quite receptive to the idea. Obviously, you're going to face difficulties, and that's why we're planning to work together with the African Union to look at some of their policies. Okay. And I mean, some of the difficulties investors have said they face is visa. Okay. Even just moving from one African country to the next African country.
Yeah, that's very true.
Very difficult. So we're looking to advocate for change of policies. Okay. And that's one of the things we're working on.
And the good thing is being brought up in Ghana and living in Ghana, you get to network with certain, different powerful people that have different contacts. And once you share your idea with them and they're interested, they tend to kind of like direct you to the the appropriate people. And so in terms of contacting these leaders, sometimes it has been challenging, but most times it's been quite straightforward.
And in terms of corruption, how are you going to overcome that? Because
corruption is everywhere.
Yes, it is, especially in Africa.
It's everywhere. We just need to know how to do it properly.
Well, we in Africa, yes, we're going to face corruption.
Yes,
exactly.
We're going to be quite firm in our beliefs.
Yes.
We're not entertaining corruption. Everything needs to be done the right way.
Exactly.
It's going to be very difficult.
Yes, it is.
But when you recognize the challenges, then it helps with overcoming them.
Yes.
So we're going to work ahead, but absolutely no corruption. I know most people are going to say, how do they think they're going to do that?
But what's important is that you're starting, and consistency, I'm sure.
Exactly. The thing is, corruption would always be there in Africa. Corruption is everywhere around the world. It is everywhere around the world, and you can't eliminate it. But it's about your brand.
Yes.
And so if you keep your brand as clean as possible, therefore it will speak for itself.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And it will attract the right people.
Definitely, that's it.
Absolutely.
So in terms of education, any investment in education?
Well, with education, we were looking at Ethiopia to do our next conference.
Okay.
Our education conference in Ethiopia, Eastern Africa. Only because I feel like as much as there's growth in the country, they're quite behind in terms of education.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people go into Ethiopia in terms of education, and
a lot of teachers are kind of moving towards that direction. So we want to kind of tap into that and see how we can help countries like Sudan and South Sudan and the rest of it. Sudan we won't be touching.
I was just about to say that it's a very sad,
so sad,
very sad situation what's going on in Sudan.
Our prayers go to them, and hopefully everything kind of stops. And
I mean, well, there's stuff like that going on in Congo, but people still are investing and going over there. So it's just a matter of being brave. But obviously not now. Well, yes, ladies, it's been lovely having you on the show.
Thank you.
It's definitely been informative. You've enlightened, me. And I'm sure the audience as well at home have, loved your story and what you're about to do. And so that's it. Thank you so much, Asibi. Thank you so much, Henrietta, for coming and sharing your story. And as I said, you will be back. They will be back before the launch of Open Gates Africa, which will be in November.
2nd November.
2nd November to be precise. These ladies are not playing. They're like...
So please register.
So please don't forget to go on their website to register if you have interest in what they're doing, if you want to support them, and also if you want to attend the event in general. You've been watching Gold Diggers, and I'm your host, Miss New Love. I'd like to say a big thank you to my sponsors, who are Azamai Beauty Makeup Artistry. I don't know why she's got such a long name on social media, but that's her. Azamai MUA Beauty Makeup Artistry on Instagram, and also Bless Nab Events, who cater for all your event needs in terms of decorating, making your parties look pretty and beautiful. They're also on Instagram and Facebook. So until next week, we have another lovely lady. This is women's season, guys. This is all about women, and I think we have a few more women before we have a guy on the show. So yes, until next week, where we have a lovely lady who is the founder of New Nude, which is a lovely underwear company. So guys, tune in next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you.